Well, that sucked. If I were to tell you before this game, this Oregon Arizona game, that the final score would be 42-16, you probably would have said, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I kind of would want Oregon to score more than 42, but sure, fine. They're still sort of trying to figure out their identity with a hobbled Marcus Mariota, and they're kind of still hung over a little bit from that Stanford loss. So sure, 42 points and what seems like a pretty uninteresting win. That seems about par for the course. I said in my pregame prediction that I had a weird feeling about this game, but then I predicted Oregon to put up 50 plus and beat Arizona by 20. Um, Let it be known that I'm an idiot and I was wrong. And I'm wrong a lot. But we knew that coming in. We there was no there was no argument whatsoever onto whether or not I am a genius, because I clearly am not when it comes to Oregon football. We did not know that this game was going to transpire the way it did, a 42-16 Arizona win. Really the first loss of its kind since Oregon's rise to power as a national contender, a perennial national contender. Oregon hasn't lost a game by this many points since USC in 2008, and that was a really good USC team. Um, this game reminded me of two games, and you got to go way, 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 way back. Arizona in 2006. I don't even remember the final score, but it was ugly. Dennis Dixon played like crap. Brady Leaf played like crap, and Arizona just waxed the floor with Oregon at Autzen. And then the 2006 Vegas Bowl, which was, I think, like a 39-6 win by BYU, where Oregon just did not seem at all interested in the game. And I was there with marching band, and I saw Oregon players in the casino the morning of the game, and it looked like they hadn't slept the night before. Clearly, that team didn't really give a whole lot of a shit about winning the Vegas Bowl, and I don't think this team gave a whole much of a shit about winning this game here in Arizona. We've talked a lot in the Chip Kelly era and now the Mark Helfrich era on Addicted to Quack about opposing teams having to play perfect games to beat Oregon. And I spoke last week about this game, and Josh Schlichter wrote about this game on Addicted to Quack, about B.J. Denker, the quarterback for Arizona, being the difference in this one. We both were thinking that B.J. Denker was going to be the difference between a close Arizona loss and a blowout loss, because leading up to this point, leading up to this game, there wasn't a whole lot of evidence to think that B.J. Denker was a great quarterback or even a good quarterback. All the evidence pointed to B.J. Denker being a really kind of a placeholder, best there is quarterback until Rich Rodriguez can find his guy in recruiting. But B.J. Denker, all props to B.J. Denker for this performance in this game. 19 of 22. And I can remember two of the three incompletions off the top of my head. One, he was rolling out of the pocket, had some pressure, made the right decision to throw it away into the Arizona's bench. And the other one was a good pass, a very good pass down the sideline. That the only reason it wasn't a completion was because Ifo Ekperelom was really good and made a play on the ball and broke it up. And there was a third incompletion in there somewhere that probably wasn't that egregious of a throw. Denker also had 102 yards rushing. B.J. Denker played about as close to a perfect game as we've seen a quarterback play against Oregon in a long, long time. Matt Barkley in 2011 comes to mind, but he still had some miscues. Andrew Luck in 2009 comes to mind, but he had the benefit of Toby Gerhart in the backfield being able to set the pace, and he made some deep throws over the top. Kellen Moore in 2008 as a redshirt freshman coming in and tearing up the defense at Autzen as part of Boise State's win. Those are the games that stick out to me. But B.J. Denker was a revelation and a surprise, and not in a good way for Oregon fans. There's a lot that's been made about Josh Huff and DeAnthony Thomas's comments about, the Rose Bowl being whatever and been there, done that. I took those comments as being more disappointed about the loss and the fact that, for all intents and purposes, the national championship game was off the table, barring some sort of chaos. But now, I guess, in some way, that they got their wish and they don't have to worry about the Rose Bowl anymore, because with Stanford's win over Cal in the big game, Stanford is the Pac-12 North champions. Oregon's got one more game to their regular season against Oregon State, and they're probably headed to either San Antonio for the Alamo Bowl or San Diego for the Holiday Bowl, which, if you told me that those were the two bowl options coming into the season, I would have been kind of disappointed. I mean, this is sort of a gut check moment for Oregon fans, because the Alamo Bowl and the Holiday Bowl, they're two good bowls. I mean, in the long run of things, bowls don't mean anything. They're exhibition games. They're just another chance to watch some college football, which is always a good thing. But it's not a BCS bowl. Oregon's last non-BCS bowl was the 2008 Holiday Bowl. That's a run that not a lot of teams go on. Very few teams have gotten a chance to go to 4 straight BCS bowls. And Oregon has played very, very good football throughout that stretch, and Oregon fans have been very lucky to witness that kind of a stretch. And there are a lot of Oregon fans that have never experienced a loss like this. Like I said, the last one that I can remember feeling this way after a loss was at the tail end of the 06 season, when Oregon kind of went into a tailspin. Granted, Chip Kelly was in New Hampshire when those things happened. Now Chip Kelly's the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a big, big cultural shift in terms of Oregon football from then to now. And there are fans that, whether they didn't have a football team and just thought Oregon was fun to watch, or they're bandwagoners who just like rooting for winners, or like me, they didn't root for Oregon till they got to college at the U of O. I've only been an Oregon fan since 2005, because that's when I started school at the U of O. So even I'm not the best person to speak to this, because there are fans that have been around since the 70s or the 80s. They were there for the 83 Toilet Bowl. They were there for season after season after season of 3-9, 2-8, just awful, awful records, that they have that perspective of a, 8-2 season right now? 9-2? 9-2. A 9-2 season right now. That's still a pretty good thing. Oregon's still going to be probably in the top 15 when the next round of rankings come out. They're still going to go to a top flight bowl. They're still down the road going to compete for Pac-12 championships and national championships. They've still got a lot of talent. This is one bad loss. I don't think this is necessarily the end of an era. David Piper, ATQ Godfather, wrote about that this could be, the end of that era. And I agree that it's the end of the Chip Kelly era and the end of the idea that Oregon is just going to run over the rest of the Pac-12 from now until eternity. That was never going to happen. That was a pipe dream that we all liked thinking about because it's really, really fun to win. But that was never realistically going to happen. And now it's kind of in our face a little bit, and it doesn't feel great. But Oregon still gets to come out, and they get to try and win the Civil War next week. They got to get up for that game, because Oregon State can make a game out of it. Oregon's a better team on paper than Oregon State, but they were also a better team on paper than Arizona, and they got whooped in Tucson on Saturday. Stay tuned to Addicted to Quack all week. Maybe those bandwagoners that joined up when Oregon was winning a lot, maybe they went away. And maybe the ATQ game threads will be a little bit less of a crazy place from now on. I don't know. We can dream. But stay tuned to Addicted to Quack for all the news and analysis about Oregon Ducks sports. Football, basketball's coming up. Baseball, softball, track and field down the road, further down the road. But ATQ's not going anywhere. We love our Ducks, win or lose. And we're going to keep writing about it, and we're going to keep talking about it. So please join us on addictedtoquack.com. For ATQ, I am Takimoto. Go Ducks. It sucks to lose, but the Ducks will be back.